Will you be here next week, or is this the next?
Yeah, I'll be here.
Okay. What do you sense that you individually and the offense has accomplished over here in the last month plus?
I feel like there's a lot of things that we've accomplished. We've kind of set a foundation of our standard, and still still building on that as well. But we set a foundation. I feel like in many aspects of the offense, whether that's our details, our learning, our chemistry, our knowledge of the playbook, our feeling of different routes and specializations for individual receivers and tight ends and all that as well. So I know when we get the pads on the O line and D line, we'll be able to actually have some fun out there as well.
What do you think this offense can do for you personally?
What can it do for me? Uh, I mean, it's an explosive offense. I think Ben and crew have great offensive minds. So I feel like they can help put me in positions to succeed, and that's all I can ask for. By the end of the day, I got to go out there and make the plays and get the job done, regardless. So I think it's something that is a dual relationship in that fact, and we both kind of have to come together to make that happen. But I feel like it's brewing for sure.
You've been alongside Caleb ever since even before the draft. What have you seen in his game that struck you, the differences in the growth at this point?
I think he's continued to grow. I didn't play quarterback at a high level in college. I played when I was like 6, so there wasn't many reads and 600-pound linemen running at me full speed, or 8 different reads or different coverages. So I'm not necessarily an expert on quarterback play, but he's continued to grow from what I've seen and make strides and continue to pour into his profession and his craft. And from my perspective, that's all I can ask for.
We talked about yesterday being kind of the first time the offense got the better of the defense, and it seemed like some of that continued today. Are you guys feeling not comfortable fully, but like, okay, we're starting to understand where we need to be, how we need to run this route, how aggressive we need to be in these moments?
Yeah, definitely. I think, we're gaining and continue to build that chemistry and kind of knowledge of the offense. And, within those 2-minute situations, it's definitely something that is kind of its own separate thing along with, the base offense. But within those situations, there's certain things that, Ben and crew want us to accomplish. And just learning those aspects of it took us a little bit to, get our feet underneath us. But I feel like you said, we kind of picked up a stride with yesterday and today. And, hopefully that'll carry you to training camp when we get there.
How if at all do you feel differently having gone through a full offseason, obviously coming into your rookie year, training for combine and everything else? How do you feel physically, like differently having gone through a real offseason?
Right. I mean, I feel great. I feel like I've, took that time in the off season, up until, from when we finished playing up until this point to, kind of dial in on what I feel I needed my, physicality and body type to be to play at this level at a high level. And I think, I've continued to make strides in that aspect, whether that's strength, upper body, all those different things. I feel like I've made strides at that point. And like you said, it's different having that transition from college football and all those different things you got to go through to then actually play football. Now I just kind of get to worry about playing football.
How much lean mass did you put on?
I don't know if I have a specific number of pounds, but I definitely, put on a few for sure, at minimum a few, and then drop some fat mass. So those are things I continue to monitor, and trying to hone in on. But I couldn't give you a specific number.
Ben said that he's like, with training camp coming up, it's like, don't get in shape at training camp, come to training camp in shape. Like, what's the message that he's given to guys just about the preparation level and where the details and all of that stuff needs to be come in July?
Oh yeah, I think as he said it perfectly. Is it's not a break that we're kind of all going to forget everything and forget football in a way. Kind of the off season is kind of over with in a way. It's time to take a bit of a relaxation, a little mental break. But like you were saying, get our ducks in a row, and get everything prepared for the long run in the season that we're about to have. And that comes with everything outside of football, and that comes with football as well. Honing in on our details, our conditioning level, our physicality, so that way when it comes to training camp, we're making strides to be in very very good shape for the season.
With the upper body strength, like what areas of your game do you anticipate that helping you in?
I think hand fighting is a big part about it, and there's a lot of nitpicky and kind of grabbing in this league that isn't always shown. That I felt like I needed to build upper body mass to be able to combat some of those things, and 50-50 balls as well. Just being able to be physical at the catch point and at the top of routes where, it's not necessarily creating separation through a speed cut, but a nudge or a chicken wing, I feel like was necessary. So that's why I did it.
Well, most guys talk about it feeling a lot more comfortable year two and starts to slow down. You're nodding your head yes. What's it feel like for you right now?
I feel those things for sure. I think it's a different game than college football. There's different windows, there's different ways to get open, and there's a kind of a different pace that you kind of gotta get adapted to. And having a full season under my belt, I feel like I'm aware of those things, and I can now play the game freely in a way, knowing exactly where I need to be when I need to be there. I just need to cater it to this offense and quarterback and chemistry within there.
When big last year for you?
Hardest part, losing. Losing sucks, and I don't like losing, so that was the hardest part.
Rome, what's it been like working with Antoine Randall now?
It's been great. He brings a lot of energy. I say all the time, he reminds me of Jamarcus Shepard, and I'm not gonna compare the two, but they are two great men. Very very Christian and supporting of the Bible and giving us those verses and different things that help inspire us, and that's words of wisdom as well, and that's also their on the field knowledge and the energy that they bring to the every practice every day is something that I feel like I have a great response to and chemistry when it comes to that coaching style. So he's been great.
How was it?
Football stuff, is there anything specifically you think that he can help you elevate your game and take you to the next level?
Yeah, I think, in all facets of it, honestly, wide receiver play, I think he's very knowledgeable, releases, routes, catch point, all those different things. I think he has a very great knowledge of and expertise of those things. So when it comes to wide receiver play, I don't like to close my mind to anything that I can improve on. There's always little details and things that I can improve. So I'm open to all those, suggestions and coaching points. And I think, we have a great, coach-player relationship in that fact where we can both grow.
How was it determined? How was it determined who had to be here next week and who wasn't? Was it like just a choice? Were they told like here?
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of, something that is, discussed within your position on the team and role on the team. It also definitely has to do with the year as well. The closer you are to your rookie season, the more you're kind of put in that boat of all the things that aren't necessary optional. Kind of you got to be there for those things, but on paper, they're all optional, and we want to be here to put in that work. And those guys that have established themselves in this league and, are on their 6th, 7th year and got kids at home, man, and you got to go, handle your responsibilities. But, I'm, just turned 23 and, don't have many things other to focus on than getting better and, becoming the best wide receiver for this organization.
Going off of that, Rome, what's been your focus this offseason and what kind of goals are maybe you eyeing in year two?
This offseason, I think I've just, just kind of obviously build physically, mentally as well. Just kind of put myself in peak, condition, spiritually, mentally, physically, for this season and be to have the best season yet that I've had in this league. So that comes to a lot of different aspects to, focusing on the playbook, focusing on the weight room, getting faster, getting stronger, all those different things. And when it comes to goal wise, I mean, I like to think about the team and making the playoffs and winning football games individually. Want to go for over 1,000 double digit. I haven't honed in on any specific numbers yet, but I got those things always in the back of my mind. But I think when you're doing the right things and you're having success and the team is having success, all the statistics and those numbers will come.
Thank you, guys.
Make sure.
What's going on with everybody?
Tyson, your birthday's in 3 days. Any crazy workouts planned that you're gonna do?
Nah, we're saving that for my buddy's birthday, June 19th. But me and my sister will be having a pool party. Rented out the local water park, so 200 person limit. Let's roll.
What's the best attraction at the water park?
Oh, this is in Martinsburg, West Virginia. There is one diving board and one slide.
Gotta stop at Betty's before you go to the water park, or is that?
Nah, we'll save that for the next morning. Hopefully, we have a good enough night, and Betty's will be right on time.
Tyson,
What's it been like working with Ben over the last 6 or 8 weeks? Get familiar with what he's asking.
I would say it's been a dream come true, especially for somebody like me that just loves the game and loves the the hustle aspect of it. It's been very intense and kind of overloading us with information, which I'm a fan of. So it's been wonderful. He's got a good mixture of making sure we're locked in, having fun, laughing, and also just being really intense. So it's been great so far.
How do you describe the edge that he's brought to the building?
I think first time head coach, and I think he's doing a great job of trying to create culture in a place that's been asking for it for a while. So and with that comes being unwavering in what you say and how you act. And I think that has been the case so far. He hasn't taken a step back from any claims that he's made up until this point.
Your competitive nature has been noticed since you've been here. You came in here, kind of surprisingly beat out PJ for that spot, deserved it. Last year, not quite the same competition level, but now this year you get a guy like Case Keenum who's been around for a long time. What is your mentality in terms of the competition of that? And then I got to follow up for what you think he brings to that room.
Yeah, so the competition aspect. I mean, I'll be surprised when that's not the case. Year to year, every year, just competing with somebody. And I'm always competing. No matter who's in a room, that's just not going to change. How I operate and what I do on a daily basis. So it's been great in that sense. And what a guy. Because what you said, him bringing what he brings to the room, really just an encyclopedia of information. Just with somebody that's been in every role that a quarterback could possibly be in the NFL. And I just been trying to take advantage of that. Really, any question that I have, if he's around, or if I got my phone on me, wanting to ask him basically, whatever it is that's going on. And he's been great with answering every question that really everybody in the room has so far.
Three of you are really young. Outside, you, Austin, and Caleb. Like, what does having someone like Case who's been doing this now for 11 years, what does that give you as far as like the experience factor?
Yeah, I kind of like what I just hinted to. He's been in literally every single situation that a quarterback could be in. He's been in Austin's shoes, he's been in my shoes, and he's been in Caleb's shoes at one point or another. So there's all three of us, can ask him a question and expect a good answer just because he's been in that situation before.
Any offensive linemen catch your attention as a pass catcher out there?
Man, no, sir,
Nobody?
no, sir, nobody that I threw the ball to at least.
What do you like Coach Johnson as a teacher and as a head coach?
I like how thorough he is. I think that he can go down the rabbit hole of every situation in football with every position in football, which I think has been most impressive. Usually you get an offensive-minded guy or a defensive-minded guy at the helm of the team, and I think obviously he is an offensive guy, but you can kind of see him going down the rabbit hole with the defense and team meanings of what he's expecting on the defensive side of the ball. And really the most impressive thing is when he does that, he speaks that same language that the defense is speaking. So that's been what I've noticed with the O-line. He can, he's about as good of a position coach as every position coach that's on our team. So I think that'll do wonders for us going down the line, just because it's very crystal clear the expectations at every position.
The first day of the offseason program, Caleb said he was quizzing you guys already on what you had learned the previous day. Like, is he still doing that? And if so, like, what is he asking you when he's doing kind of these mental checks along the way?
Yeah, I mean, kind of like what I said, it's been intense. I think at the beginning when he was doing those quizzes, it was kind of just like, putting somebody in a corner and pinning them there because we didn't really know what any of these words meant. And so just trying to put together a play call when you don't really know what each word means is kind of hard. But I think that just that act in itself was like, at least, for me, I can speak, it really, when I would go home, I would go straight into my iPad and try to figure all that shit out. So I think it served wonders for the quarterback room going down the line, just where what the expectation is of having to be on top of your every day that you walk into the building. So I thought it was great.
He would ask you, like, what would he ask you?
Each person one at a time go up to the front of the room, 3 plays in a row. JT would spit the play out to us, and then we would spit the play out, and then go through our operation until we got it correct.
His play calls long.
I mean, some are long, some are short. It's been pretty similar, just the length of the calls and all the offenses so far.
With how much you're putting into it, how are you doing as far as staying patient, waiting for your chance to come up someday?
It's tough, but I mean, there's no better job in the whole world. I'm so happy and so excited every single day that I wake up, and that really for me is enough motivation to really there's no alternative for me. I'm gonna stay ready regardless of of the situation I'm in. But for the most part, I mean, it's been a absolute dream come true. So yeah, just gonna keep staying at it and staying ready.
Tyson, what's your understanding of how the QB2 competition will play out in training camp?
No understanding. Just compete my ass off. Try to put myself in the best position possible, and I'm sure that everybody in that room and in the building will do the same.
Tyson, do you know if Ben is planning to use virtual reality at any point to kind of help you guys prepare in terms of getting more plays?
Like that VR headset stuff. I haven't seen any of it. I haven't talked to anybody about it. I did it once at my little cousin's house, and I thought it was cool. But we'll see if he puts that in the building.
What went into the hair change?
I was tired of that shit. It was every time I was working out, I'm putting it up, and it's coming out of the bun, and it was just I didn't do a good job taking care of it, and I feel like I kind of served my time with that. So yeah, I'm back now. I'm back.
Anybody, thank you for PCA walking around?
I've got that a bunch since I cut the hair. So yeah, not a bad comparison. He's playing pretty well right now.
There were tweaks that Ben made to Caleb's game. Has he made any tweaks to your game, and how have you adjusted to them?
Yeah, I think different stance this year. Very honest about left foot forward. So kind of just re-ingraining that back into my head after able to do that in 23 with Getsy and his offense. So kind of getting back to that. But then outside of that, it's really just within the lines. He lets us kind of do our thing. So besides that. That's really the only thing I can think that he's really tweaked in my game.
How difficult is it to get used to your foot starting in a different position?
Yeah, I think it's just repetition's the mother of all learning. I think just the amount of times that you can just get used to how that feels, how that stance feels, where to put your weight, all that good stuff. So for me, just do it a couple hundred times before I go to sleep, and then eventually you don't have to do that anymore.
Pool party invite only, or is it?
Invite only. I don't want to see none of y'all there.
Tyson, you praised Case. He talked about you glowingly, saying that he expects you to have a long career. How does that make you feel, despite how maybe your career?
What did he say?
He spoke about you glowingly. He said he expects you to have a long career.
Oh, okay.
What does that do for your confident person anyway? How does that boost you to another level? Maybe to hear somebody like him say that.
Yeah, it's for anybody to say that is pretty sweet and pretty cool, and it means a lot. I mean, this is my life's work, so it does mean a lot. But coming from somebody like him means a little bit more. The first NFL game I ever went to, Redskins versus Giants, end of the season. I don't think either team was going to the playoffs. Dwayne Haskins, R.I.P. He hurt himself. Case Keenum goes into the game. I'm about 5 rows up behind the end zone, and they're backed up on their own one, and he just manufactured a 99-yard drive, and really the one throw that sticks out, he dropped back, foot was probably an inch from being out of bounds, out of the back of the end zone, and threw an over route to Crowder, I want to say, and it just the angle and just the drive that followed was just something that I didn't forget, and that was back in 2019. So for him to say something like that is extremely cool.
You told him about that?
First time I saw him, I told him about that.
What was his reaction?
He was just in his head trying to remember the game, and said that he did remember that. So it was cool experience.
What's different about your role in this scheme than it was under the last staff and the last system?
Pretty much it's the same role, playing nose guard and just being a bat on D line.
A little bit different responsibilities up front with the way they go vertically, or no?
Yeah, I see what you're saying. It's a little different. We're not tilting as much. We're saying staying square, but other than that, it's pretty much the same reads and all that.
Is there a difference in the way that this coaching staff is pointing out when people make mistakes on the practice field? It seems pretty intense out there.
Yeah. I mean, they're on us hard. It's the time to do it because we're just trying to learn the defense and get better. So we're not letting anything slide right now.
How would you describe it? Have you been called out at any point, and what was that
I have
like?
been fortunate enough not to make a mistake just yet, so I'm trying to keep that record going.
Andrew, when you look at last season, it seemed like there was such an uptick in your ability to get pressure on the quarterback. You were beating your man consistently while you were healthy. Was there something you changed in your game that led to that uptick, and is this something that you continue to add on?
Yeah, it's something I'm always working on. I mean, last year I was working on my pass rush. This year I'm still working on something new because I can't just go out there and do the same thing. So I think with this defense, I'll be able to do a lot more actually. With that, as far as pass rush, I got a little bit more freedom.
What's it been like being around Grady every day?
Good. I'm gonna learn a lot from him. Yeah.
You see that as maybe a healthy competition between you, him, and Dex?
Oh yeah, definitely. Grady has brought something different to the room, and it's really refreshing.
Bill, when you went down last year, there was a significant drop off in the run defense. Obviously, you play that very, very well, but they bring in guys like Grady. They invest in the draft with Shamar. How do you feel like those additions to the interior defensive line can not only help them with the rotation, but maybe help with long-term health, all of that?
Yeah, exactly like you said. It's just we were talking about it yesterday. There's no drop off. I mean, me, Dex, Ford, Shamar, Grady. It's just everybody. You got to deal with everybody, no matter who's on the field. Yeah.
We've seen Trevon playing a little bit of nose. How do you evaluate him as a nose tackle in there?
Well, he got here was playing nose that first couple of weeks, so I like him at nose. I thought he was going to be the nose, so I like him.
Is there anything you're doing to help bring him along there?
I mean, right now he's in that mindset of he's learning how to not only just beat somebody athletically, but beat him mentally. So he kind of got to figure that on his own, but he's doing good at that.
Have you noticed the change in Javon at all? It seems like he's trying to step up a little bit more as a leader in that room.
Yeah, definitely. I think since like I said, I think it clicked for him. The game has definitely slowed down for him, so he's helping coach up Shamar and stuff like that. Yeah.
The new additions on the D line, Dennis is the DC. What's your eval with this defensive front and what it can do this year?
We are going to we're gonna have a lot of things, but they're going to be the same.
How so?
That's what we're gonna have. That's it.
There's obviously been a lot of change since last season ended. What do you think was accomplished here in the last 6 to 8 weeks with everybody getting together and trying to get something new launched here?
Yeah, I think what we've done great is we got into the playbook and we got through the whole thing. So we'll get to come back and do it again. It'll be round 2. I think we've gotten set the standard, set the tone. And so we get back, we already know where we're at, where we need to do, and where we need to be. I think it's been a great start.
Montez described Dennis Allen as being a complex individual. How would you describe?
It's just he's not going to sugarcoat anything. He might actually add a little salt. So that's what it is.
Bill, one of my favorite things just to hear you out on the field was how you make the move calls and all that before the snap. But it's also very effective for you guys. Will you continue to do that, or is that something that's not going to be here as much?
It's still a part of the defense. Still a part of the defense. You always want to see if we can get a free 5 yards back that way. So we'll still have it.
When Ben got hired, he singled you out as a big presence that was missed when you went down. How did those conversations go when the coaching staff came in? Did they talk to you about how they viewed your role, or have you just kind of been trying to work with the flow as they take over?
Say it one more time.
When Ben came on, he talked about how much you were missed last season when you went down. When the new coaching staff came in, have they talked about your role going forward, or are you just kind of working through everything with everybody else?
I'm working through everything with everybody else. I mean, part of what we're doing here too is we're figuring out our roles. And of course, I had a big role last year, and every year you got to work up to maintaining that or achieving even more. So that's just what I'm working towards. I'm still going to be the run stopper. I'm still going to work on pass rush. I'm still going to work on my move call and everything else.
One of the things that Caleb worked through out the spring and summer last year and on through the season was his own cadence. You as a vet D lineman right in front of him, where do you think he's at in that process? Do you hear it any differently than you did at this time last year?
Yeah, I think he's working on it. I think he's taking it day by day. He started off, earlier on during this time, and as of today, he's actually gotten better. So, and he's gotten a few guys off sides with it too. So he's getting good at it.
Couple more. I know you guys aren't in pads yet, but what's kind of caught your eye about some of the new guys on the offensive line in the interior there?
What's new? We got our new guys in there. I think what's really the newest thing for us is the scheme. What we're seeing out there on the field every day. It's a lot of movement, a lot of things that we got to anticipate happening out there. That's really the biggest thing.
Is your move call ready for training camp?
Yeah, it's always ready.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.